There are decisions we make in life that end up affecting us for the rest of our lives. Things as simple as choosing a red droid over a blue one. Ooh, or maybe you decided to partake in the Boonta Eve Classic where you met your untimely death in front of your wife and 3 kids. Or maybe you just chose the wrong Star Wars game. Way back when, almost 20 years ago now, I got to pick a game for Christmas, and for my trusty Gameboy Advance, without giving it much thought, I went with Super Return of the Jedi, a Game Boy port of a console game that was almost 10 years old. And it was actually pretty decent, I didn't mind at all. It was a fun, side-scrolling adventure of my then-favorite Star Wars movie. And I must have played it hundreds of times. Heck, I would even replay it just to try it in a different color palette, like yes, oh, we're doing a red and green run-through this time. And it even had some fun vehicle sections too that I remember really liking. But my joy with this one was short-lived as I quickly realized I done goofed. See, that same day, I also discovered a new Star Wars game had just recently dropped. Star Wars Trilogy Apprentice of the Force, a game that had been everything I could have wanted from a Star Wars game, what I had been dreaming about, a game where you venture through the entire original trilogy from beginning to end, all on the GBA. But it was too late for me now. I couldn't have it. My dad said no. There are plenty of overlooked and underrated Star Wars games out there that come to mind, but when I think of Star Wars titles that are a lot of fun and really impressive but hardly get mentioned or receive any recognition, it's gotta be this one. With the 2004 DVD release of the Star Wars Trilogy, another hot Christmas item that my family wouldn't let me have, we got 2 games to coincide with its release, Battlefront and this game. Take a guess which one most people bought. Here you play through the entirety of the Star Wars trilogy exclusively as Luke Skywalker in this beautiful side-scroller. You get this sort of cel-shaded 3D look to the sprites with very smooth animations done by Ubisoft, using the same engine as their Prince of Persia Sands of Time GBA port, and it definitely shows, trust me. And it plays very well. You start off as Farmer Boy Luke, popping off at anybody who dares get in between him and his power converters. And at first, the game acts as this nice shoot-'em-up. Luke can do this pretty slick dive roll and this dash move, which makes for some nice platforming. Mirroring the movie, you start off relatively underpowered. The whole premise of the game is that you're working towards becoming that Jedi Master Luke, embarking on a classic Campbellian journey all on 2 AA batteries. Or a rechargeable one if you have an SP, but no, nothing too fancy. And the way the gameplay unfolds to mimic the progression of the films is so well done. Like, as you work your way through the Death Star in A New Hope, you have to deal with waves and waves of stormtroopers, and while nothing here is too challenging, like Episode 4 Luke, your moveset is noticeably subdued. You're just stuck with the blaster and the occasional power-up that lets you rapid-fire enemies. It's simple, but it's pretty fun and really captures those hectic, always-on-the-run shootouts from the first film. Oh shoot, they even got that scene from the movie where you cross the gap with Leia. Okay, here we go.
Good luck.
Where we're going, we don't need luck. Yeah, boy! You just gotta shoot the controls for the bridge. Yeah, okay, not everything does mimic the movie 1-to-1, but you can definitely see where they tried to, and later on they really play into it. The end of the New Hope section, of course, is the Death Star Assault, and you get this, I'm telling you, really fun space shooter sequence with X-Wing, where you just gotta speed through and eliminate all the TIE fighters you can. This here plays like boss-ass butter. Seriously, your booster engines create this nice sense of speed, and the controls are so slick, you really start to tap into that son of the best star pilot in the galaxy feel. After you do the trench run, we of course get to Empire, and this is when the gameplay, as you can guess, takes a drastic shift from a side-scroller shoot-'em-up to one where you're now going to be mowing down legions of Wampas with your lightsaber. You can still switch to your gun with the select button, but from here, the whole game has changed. You already feel a lot more capable and powerful, but what I really love is how they play off the movie to introduce your force mechanics. This is a game that largely prioritizes making you feel like you're experiencing these moments from the film. It takes precedent over everything, and it's exemplified best when you get to Dagobah. Rather than just another throwaway level where you, I don't know, kill a bunch of Dagobah bats and help exterminate Yoda's backyard and collect pinup pictures of, Yaddle. This whole level acts as an extended tutorial where you learn about the Force, effectively using beats from Luke's journey in the trilogy to progress the gameplay. It's a small and straightforward attention to detail that hasn't really been done so directly. It makes unlocking the Force feel really special. It captures that warm, fuzzy feeling from the movie. After that, you're knocking down waves of stormtroopers with Force pushes, dashing around around and slicing them up, you feel like hot shit. And then you gotta take on Vader, who quickly shows you you're not a Jedi yet. You even get thrown into Carbonite mid-boss fight where you gotta break free, you can block and parry Vader's attacks, but again, the movie takes precedent, you have to get your shit kicked in. They make you do the whole sequence where Vader is just throwing a whole Sears catalog at you, and you're gonna like it. In most other games, this relinquishing of control where you know you're beating a boss only to lose in a cutscene would be seen as an annoyance, but here, it's cute reliving these moments on a GBA because you know how these scenes gotta go down.
You don't need the Star Wars Trilogy box set on DVD.
Yes, I do. It comes with a demo for Battlefront, boy! By Return of the Jedi, the circle is now complete. You have become the Master. At this point, your blaster is basically null as you become this unstoppable lightsaber-wielding Jedi. You can now slow down time, a total riff from Prince of Persia. You can force heal your health bar. You can dash and double jump with ease. You now have a move that can wipe off every enemy on screen with one lightsaber strike. You feel so much more powerful than that I assume to be a wide-eyed farm boy. Most Star Wars games would have you just bash the Rancor until it's dead, but here, you actually knock it back while force pushing boulders until you can crush it with the door. Sure, it would have been more accurate if instead of rocks it was the skull of a guy named Bidlow, but the sequence effectively captures the feeling of that oh, come on, no, my battery died! How could this happen? I will say though, after you gain this mastery of the Force and the lightsaber combat, you can tell they try to stretch things out a bit, especially with this Endor sequence. It just feels like it goes on and on. Like, yeah, you can argue it's like the movie in that way, but the game just starts throwing endless waves of stormtroopers before you can even progress, and now you're fighting a bunch of random bugs and DVD copies of Ewok Adventures. There are some cool things, like using Force Push while on a log to gain momentum, but then the game throws the secret weapon of the Empire. You didn't think Palpatine wouldn't have an ace in the hole? It sheaves bees!
Attack, my faithful.
Yeah, you're fighting bees now. We ought to wrap this thing up, don't you think? Again, the final boss fight with Vader nicely mirrors the film with each sequence, until you're hiding under the stairs and he's poking your mind, making you remember some embarrassing regrets. And Vader's AI at the last sequence even lets up and lets you wail on him, just like the movies. Now, you will experience the full power of the dark side. Father! Bees!
That's it. You know my son has a theology. You're going into the pit.
Not the bees! And we all lived happily ever after. Oh, also they throw in a bonus gallery after you beat the game, like, wow, thank you for this pixelated Chewbacca picture. Yep, gonna hang this up in my room. All in all, Star Wars Trilogy Apprentice of the Force, I know for a fact, would have been the Star Wars game of my tiny brain's dreams, of getting to progress as Luke through the entire trilogy, from farm boy to Jedi like my father before me, who wouldn't let me buy this game. I hope you burn in hell. It's a very forgiving and accessible game, and sure, it doesn't have the sheer difficulty and toughness to it like the Super Star Wars series, but tackling the entire original trilogy in one game and having your gameplay mechanics progress in lieu with Luke's growth in the films is a very fun little experiment that I think really has gone under the radar. There are plenty of Star Wars games I played that many would consider overlooked or deserving of more recognition, but I always feel a special appreciation for this one, for delivering something so specific and simple that I always wanted out of a Star Wars game. Hey, what do you know? Maybe you stick around with me and we talk about all the other Star Wars games on Gameboy Advance. I'm sure they're all as fun and fulfilling as this one. We sat in big doo-doo!